You need a conductor to say, you have momentum even though you don't know it. You're making progress even though it doesn't feel like it. You're closing the distance faster than you think you are. But if I never experienced momentum like that, so I didn't know.
I would really prefer to just be slow and steady. The tortoise always wins the race. And I'm working really hard on that in business and life, in my relationship, in fitness. Yeah, it's boring. It's the unsexy fundamentals, but it does work. If you can hang, it works. It's really cool.
Next Level Nation, welcome back to another episode of Next Level University, where we help you level up your life, your love, your health, and your wealth. Today, for episode number 1749, we did kind of a little teaser of this episode in the previous episode. You can't win without momentum. I had a moment today, Alan, of, I would say, frustration.
Tell me all about it,
I'm going to tell you all about it, Alan. Again, frustration, not judgment. I wasn't judging this person, but I was frustrated based on the fact that, we'll get into it. I saw a post from someone who you and I knew way back, and they jumped from thing to thing. It was a podcast, and it was this, and it was this, and it was this. And they've written a book, and now that's the thing that they're talking about. They're talking about their book. And again, you do you. I haven't written a book, so I'm not talking trash. But it frustrated me because it looks like they're really winning at life. And I've talked to this person behind the scenes, and they were not really winning at life. And the thing that frustrates me is the fact that people are going to make decisions based on what this person looks like they're doing versus what they're actually doing. And this is a really good example of this person does not have any momentum in anything they're doing. They're just jumping from one thing to another thing to another thing to another thing. And everybody assumes they have a ton of momentum because now they have a book or now they have a podcast or whatever it is.
Well, they do have a ton of momentum with perception.
With perception. Yeah, that's fair. And one of the quotes I used to say back in the day that broke my heart to say, it wasn't something that I think anybody should aspire to, but it doesn't matter how much you know, it matters how much you can show. And that's what a lot of people are doing. They don't really know that much, but they're showing a bunch. But I had another thought with a podcaster that I used to work with who just has changed so many things. And it's one of those, I think one of the most common issues for human beings is that they try something for a month, they try something for 2 months, they try something for 6 months, and it doesn't work. And then they abandon the plan and they try something new. And that goes for a month, 2 months, 6 months, and it doesn't work. And they continue doing this. And their belief is that the thing that I am doing is not working, not my perspective, my perception, my time perspective, my expectation around what I'm doing is off. Because what if you just did it for another 6 months instead of starting something else for 6 months or 2 months? You'd probably be in a drastically different place. And I think it's really hard to conceptualize that and to understand that, but it fires me up because, I don't know, maybe it fires me up because I've fallen victim to that in the past, and I've done that. I've tried something for a month and it didn't work, and I said, I tried to learn guitar for a month. It's like, this isn't for me. But if I did it for a year,
you didn't say it didn't work, though.
Oh, I think I said it's not for me. I'm not willing to put in my truth is I'm not willing to put in the amount of time necessary to actually get good at this. That's the truth. But I think, what if everybody was that honest about their thing? What if they said, honestly, I'm not willing to give it a year. If it doesn't work in 6 months, I want to go somewhere else. I think people would be more okay with jumping from thing to thing if that was their truth. So yeah, today's episode is about momentum, I guess.
We have, in my business coaching, I have an acronym called S.C.I.S.L. I'm big on acronyms these days. Emilia got me into them.
I feel like you've always been big on acronyms.
Not as much as now,
maybe
because she's into acronyms way more than I am.
Respect.
She used to have memory challenges, so now she has a really great memory and the tool of acronyms. So S.C.I.S.L is S.C.I.S.L. I almost screwed that up. S.C.I.S.L. Sustainability.
Oh, boy.
Oh, yeah. Consistency. Improvement. Kev, improvement.
I'm ready.
Scalability.
Mm-hmm.
Almost forgot that one.
Mm-hmm.
And longevity.
Mm.
How sustainable is what you're doing? How consistent can you be at it? Daily, weekly, monthly, whatever. Are you improving along the way? Is it scalable? And how long can you do this? And so the podcast is a perfect example. We have a client, Kevin and I have a mutual client. Shout out to you. You know who I'm talking about most likely because you and I just got off of a Zoom session, and I'll always keep it anonymous. She's like, well, you can use my name. I said, no, I can't, because when I do that, my other clients think I'll use their name. So I can't. But anyways, so this client and I were on Zoom, and she said, I listened to Podcast Growth University, and I coach with Kevin. And I listened to Next Level University, and I coach with Alan. And I listened to the Conscious Couples podcast. I'm just getting after it. And I was like, you are awesome. Talk about an ideal client. Mm. I said, imagine you get 1% better each time you listen to the episode, each time you listen to Conscious Couples, each time you listen to Podcast Growth University, each time you coach with Kevin and I. Do you have any idea what that compounds into? And so this podcast, how sustainable is it? That person that I'm referring to came to us, found us through a podcast that I went on and went on her show. And then she booked a free session with me, and then we ended up coaching, and then she ended up coaching with you, and then she found Podcast Growth University. It just compounds. And so momentum, she's in momentum. I can feel it. I can always tell. I don't know if this is a weird me thing. It might be, but I can tell when someone's in momentum. I have another client I'm thinking of that's just on fire. Everything's rolling. Doesn't mean it's easy.
Yeah.
Being in momentum means people are lashing out occasionally. You're overwhelmed as hell. You're having to say no to things you used to say yes to. There's usually a lot of people that might be frustrated with you or annoyed. And you're doing a lot, so it's hard to keep the quality of work high. But you're in momentum and you can feel it, and it's awesome. And you just got to sustain it as long as possible and stay super humble. You got to stay super humble. And I'm talking to myself on that one too. So this podcast, Next Level University, we never would have met either of those two people that I'm referring to who have become very amazing, meaningful relationships in my life. If we weren't able to sustain this podcast, if we weren't able to be consistent, if we weren't able to improve this new on YouTube, if you're watching on YouTube, you can see that Kevin and I have side profiles now. It's actually one of the very few YouTube improvements that I've come up with.
Yeah.
But we've improved a ton. If you go back to the first episode versus now, the thumbnails are different, everything. And then so scalable. So Kevin and I can talk to thousands of people all over the world with 1/2 hour of our time. Unbelievable. And it is longevity. How long can we do this? We're only 7 years in. I told this client earlier, I said, we're just a toddler. This person has three kids. I said, how old are your kids? She said, one's 20, one's 14, one's 12. I think it was maybe 20, 12, and 8. But I said, okay, the 20-year-old, girl or boy? She said, girl. I said, okay, imagine her at 7. I said, that's us. And LU's just a little toddler running around. She's like, whoa, I've never thought about it like that. I said, well, that's how a business works. It's just no one knows you yet. It's okay. And by the way, you're only 1. You're ahead of the game. You just don't know it. You're only 1 year old.
Yeah.
You can't expect big results when you're 1 year old. 1 year old, I don't even know if you can crawl yet. I don't know anything about child rearing, but it's a good metaphor, I think. And so I told her, I said, if you can stick with this level of momentum, if this is sustainable and you can do it long term, business is staying power, but life is staying power, fitness. If you can stay injury free, you're better off. You're way better off, because a lot of times what happens is you push it and then you get injured and then you're out of the gym for a month, and then it's another couple months before you get back into it, back in the swing, you fall off your diet. I think a lot of life is momentum and staying power, and I really do believe that, but it's boring, and I understand why people miss that.
Well, doesn't momentum come from the feeling of the lack of momentum? You feel like what I'm doing is creating zero momentum, and then it almost, and again, I'm going to gently use these words, but I don't mean it the way it's going to sound. It almost then gets easy. It seems easy. What's a good way? If we think about momentum, you know me, I'm always thinking in visual. I think of a train. You think of a train. You say that all the time. The train's got momentum.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine a train that's going 1 mile an hour that hits a car. It's going to stop. It's going to stop that train. Imagine a train that hits a car when the train is going 100 miles an hour. It is going to literally blow through that car, and that car is going to cease to exist. Will it slow down? Yeah, a little bit. But not nearly.
Really.
Yeah,
Almost not at all, actually.
Right, well, I don't know. I don't know enough about mass times acceleration divided by
F
the
equals
square root of
ma.
G.
Force equals mass times acceleration. Well
Whatever.
done.
Thank you so much. You know, I know things. I actually learned that on my 1 hour flight from the East Coast to the West Coast. Actually, I took some extra time to learn.
When you time traveled.
When I time traveled. That's kind of how I think of it. It seems easier. There was a season, and I'm back in the season, and I can already feel the momentum, which is weird, but there was a season where I was going on 10 podcasts a week, at least. And then people were just... I remember Alan and I were on stage at a speech, and I got an email from someone who said, hey, I need to work with you guys. You remember how you came on my podcast and we talked about working together? It's time. I'm ready to do it. Let's do it now. And it was one of those moments I told Alan, I said, this is so weird. We're getting paid to speak on stage and somebody's literally trying to send me money through an email. What a weird thing. But so much of that momentum was based on stuff that had been done for years prior. Months prior, maybe, but definitely years prior. But that's the hard thing about momentum. The hard thing about momentum is it comes from the stuff that almost doesn't seem like it's doing anything. And again, I'm as guilty of this as anybody. And if you don't recognize it, it's very easy to sabotage. Sorry, go ahead.
No, don't be sorry. It's all good. You can always tell by mouth movements.
You get excited. You were like, and then I shut you down gently. No. Next Level Nation, what is happening? If you've thought to yourself, I want to try coaching, but you don't really know where to start, group coaching would be a wonderful place for you. That's really why we created it in the first place. We start a new round every 90 days. So if you're hearing this, go to the website, nextleveluniverse.com, and we have the landing page where you can actually hold your spot right now. Even if there's a group going on right now, you can still lock your spot for the next one. The biggest thing that we've seen is as we get closer and closer to the date, unfortunately, some people end up missing. The group fills up and they can't do it, and then they end up regretting that. So please head over to the website. The link will be in the show notes, and we would love to see you there.
You came to me, I don't know.
26
How many
years
shows
ago.
had you been on before you came to me? I was like, dude, this isn't working.
Oh, I don't know. I don't know. Probably I would say at that time it was probably 100 shows in of doing, because I had been on shows before, but we had never really made a concerted effort. So I'd say 100 probably.
Okay, so Kev comes in. At one point, you were doing 20 a week on top of ours. So it was definitely burning you out. I remember those days, and I was like, yeah, let's push it.
It's absolutely brutal.
Let's push it. Shout out to Laura. That wouldn't have been doable without Laura's consistency. Most consistent player in the game, Laura.
Thousands of messages.
Shout out. Unbelievable.
Thousands of messages.
She has a 100% streak going right now, like you used to on her PPT.
Shout out to you, Laura. Go. Yep. Don't stop. Don't ever stop.
Because I'll never get it back.
Yeah, I'll never get it back. Don't ever stop.
It's not a small system either. I think she's got 20 habits. So, but anyways, so super inspiring. You came and you were like, dude, this isn't working. And I was like, brother, it's only been 3 months. And you're like, yeah, I'm going on 20 shows a week. This is brutal. It's not working. And I said, trust me, stick with it. Dude, Kev got, I think he came to me complaining in Q2 of last year. And in Q3, we got 19 new podcast production clients from all of the amazing relationships that you built of all these podcasters who want to grow their show and have an impact. And dude, if I had let you stop the train, man,
well,
that would be so bad.
I think that's one of the beautiful things, and this isn't a plug for coaching, if it is, whatever, but it's that's not my intention. You kind of need a conductor. You need a conductor to say, you have momentum even though you don't know it. You're making progress even though it doesn't feel like it. You're closing the distance faster than you think you are. But if I never experienced momentum like that, so I didn't know. I said that right during this episode. I feel it now. I'm out here hammering podcasts, and it is awesome. And I'm sending messages and talking to people and getting consultations, and people are like, I want to pay you for this. It's like, this is awesome, great, love it. But it's my mentality around it is different now. It's most of this you won't see any result of this for a while. But it's not even about that. Just do it. Just do the process. 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 And just do the process. And everything else is almost gravy. I'm not even really thinking about it.
How many more times can you say just do the process?
Do the process. Do the process.
And then you'll gain momentum. The person I was on with right before this is a coaching client with Kevin and myself. I already mentioned that. We met her by me going on her show. What if I had said no to that show?
I thought it was me. I thought it was me.
I honestly, dude, I don't know.
I think it is. Because I remember saying, dude, I hope you go on the show. She's the sweetest.
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Yeah, I can't let you take credit for that.
Dude, honestly, man.
I know. But,
yeah.
But for me,
I care
it's
about
like,
truth, though. I do. I care about truth.
Yeah, for me, I got to tell you.
Yeah,
Because you'll be saying that forever. That will be a core story forever. And then I'll be like, well, that's not how it really worked. But
no, I appreciate it. I need accurate data. I really do.
Yeah.
So I, personally, me, alone, got this client. No. But what if Kevin had not felt like serving that day? What if he had a tough morning and missed the meeting? You just never know. And you posted in Next Level Nation recently, our private Facebook group, hey, where did you find Next Level University? That was so cool to see how all these years of exposure have built such a cool community of like-minded people. But I want everyone to understand this. All along the way, it felt like invisible progress.
Yeah.
There was very little noticeable progress for many, many, many years.
Many moons.
And it still feels, and goes back to the episode we did today, but it dropped yesterday, which is I feel like I'm doing too much and not enough. The not enough is I feel like nothing's working. I feel like I'm not making progress. I feel, even in this 10-pound and 10-week challenge that we're doing, shout out to everyone in that, it doesn't feel like I'm making progress. But then every now and then I'll have a workout where I'll be like, whoa, that's different. Okay, so this is working. But that's what, once every 2 weeks, maybe?
In terms of the way you look or the way you feel?
Yeah, the way I look. Or the way I feel. Strength as well. Same deal. I mean, everything's kind of that way. I joke. I say it's like an orchid that blooms and dies on the same day. But that moment of achievement, I think that's so meaningful. That's my favorite thing in the world. One of my favorite things in the world. Emilia's my favorite thing in the world. But it's one of my favorite things in the world to have that moment of, that was a dream. At one point, that was just a dream.
Yeah.
You and I had that moment on stage that one time. I was waiting for years for that moment. And we looked at each other and you gave me the nod and it was, remember when we talked about this? Mm-hmm. And then we got our asses kicked.
Yes, we did.
So the same day was a dream come true and the worst training we've ever given.
Yeah.
Of course, when I say we, I mean me.
Yeah. Yeah, I was just there. I was kind of like assisting the slaughter. You know? Gosh, that was brutal. That was absolutely brutal. Momentum's an interesting thing. It is. But you can't get momentum without action. I feel like I have a ton of momentum in fitness, even though, I don't know, I think I'm on track with my weight, but I don't feel different. I look a little bit different, but not really. No, if I'm being honest, not really. I took my shirt off today. Like when I finished my workout, I was in the locker room and I was like, let me take a peek. And I was happy. I was like, okay, we're going to be okay. But it wasn't, whoa. The last 3 weeks have really done it. It's like, no. They've done something, of course. And I feel like I have a ton of momentum. I'm tracking macros. I'm tracking calories. I'm prepping food. I did cardio the other day. That is momentum. Momentum, 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 momentum. And it feels really good when you have momentum. I think one of the downsides, and then what time is it? We got to get out of here. Yeah, we got to get out of here. I think one of the downsides potentially is when you have momentum, you don't realize you have momentum, and then you stop doing it, and then you lose it. It's really hard to start again.
It's either low awareness or it's lack of humility.
Well, it's very
For me, it's
disheartening.
lack of humility.
It's very disheartening if it's low awareness.
Yeah, because if you don't understand how quickly you can lose momentum, that can be really devastating, honestly. I was talking to Amelia about this yesterday. I know we got to go. I said I would rather, because I almost tweaked my knee. I was doing leg press and I was doing progressive overload, and essentially I'm in a cut. I'm eating less. I didn't hydrate super well. Excuse. And I put on an extra plate, feeling myself. And then the last couple reps, I was like, ooh, right knee. That's the first time I've felt that in a minute. And then the old me, I told her on the drive home, I said the old me would have put a couple more reps after the tweak. And the new me is older and wiser. And I immediately racked it. I was like, done. And then I iced last night while watching the first Hobbit movie, eating all the food. But what was my point of that? Oh, I said on the way home, I feel a ton of momentum in fitness because we've been exercising consistently for 2.25 years. I feel the momentum. That was the first time I've felt injury-prone tendency in a long time, because I've also been doing mobility for 6 months. But I said I would rather get better by 1% per week over time than do 20% and then negative 20% and then positive 20% and then negative 20% and then positive 40% and then negative 50%. This whole injure yourself and then be out of the gym for a month thing, I'm really trying to be done with that. I would really prefer to just be slow and steady. The tortoise always wins the race. And I'm working really hard on that in business and life, in my relationship, in fitness. Yeah, it's boring. It's the unsexy fundamentals, but it does work. If you can hang, it works. It's really cool.
And when you build momentum, everything gets, again, it doesn't get easier per se, but you get opportunities, you get things that come out of the woodwork that you didn't expect. I think that's a really good way to do it. Like, we have momentum, and then Evan asked me to go to Toronto. That wasn't something I planned on. And then he asked me to do another speech on July 4th. That's just because we have momentum in a lot of different arenas. That's all. All right, we got to go because we are going to record another episode before our next calls. If we were speaking to and about Next Level Nation, if you're looking for a group of awesome humans who are as growth-driven as you, click the link in the show notes. We will have the private Facebook group link there. Next Level Nation, a great place for you. What do you have for the humans, Jeff?
Congratulations to Group 14. Yes. Huge shout out today to all of Group 14 Inspired Impact. Amy, Kevin, and I are so proud of you. Your team name was Inspired Impact, and that's exactly what you were. You all inspired so many people and made a huge impact on others, us included. Thank you again for these last 90 amazing days, and we're excited to see you all continue to launch into Q3 and beyond with flying colors. And for anyone out there who doesn't want to fall for the summer distractions that derail you from your momentum and your goals, DM me now to join us for July 9th. Group 15 starts. Book your spot now. The link will be in the show notes. And again, we only ever take 10 people per quarter. The summer, it's really hard to stay consistent in the summer. There's 2 times of the year that I struggle with because I feel like a lot of people are not as productive, and it bothers me because I always want to be. It's the holidays and it's the summer. I feel like we derail ourselves so much in the holidays and the summer. And I get that a lot of people want to do that. But if you don't want to let that happen to you, if you don't want to lose momentum this summer, group coaching, we will stay consistent, steadfast. It doesn't mean we're going to kill ourselves. It doesn't mean we're not going to enjoy ourselves. It means we're going to stay steadfast for all of Q3.
We had somebody who shared in Next Level Nation. They lost, I think, 18 pounds during the 3 months of group coaching, and they are the most consistent they've been. So that is a really good testimonial, and we appreciate that so very much.
Promo code NLU listener. Link in the show notes. It's the landing page. Check it out. Lock your spot now. Promo code NLU listener, all one word. Gives you 30% off.
Done. All right. we are going to hop. As always, we love you. We appreciate you. Grateful for each and every one of you. And at NLU, we don't have fans. We have family. We will talk to you all tomorrow.
Keep up the momentum. Next Level Nation.